We're not exactly drowning in quality games that use PlayStation Move, but every so often one comes along that demands our attention. When Move launched in 2010, it came out alongside Sports Champions, a Wii Sports clone that proved to be a lot of fun. More accurate and dynamic, but admittedly less revolutionary than Wii Sports, Sports Champions proved a worthy diversion, and 2 years later, its sequel, Sports Champions 2, continues that tradition. As a game that requires the use of PlayStation Move, and gives you the option to use 2 if you want, Sports Champions 2 totes an interface that's simple to use with the motion controller. Better yet, unlike the original Sports Champions, calibrating your controller is extremely quick, and you only have to do it once, though if your room's too bright, expect to have some issues. Graphically, Sports Champions 2 looks on par with its predecessor and gets the job done. Animations are occasionally wonky because they're directly tied to Move's one-to-one motion controls, so expect to find your arms crossed up in boxing or your skier flying off a cliff cross-legged every once in a while. Sound effects and music are subtle and rest in the background. In fact, I shut the music off completely and left only sound effects on, and enjoyed playing the game quietly. Like the original Sports Champions, Sports Champions 2 comes packing 6 individual games. The strongest of the 6 games is Archery, which is the only game taken from the original title. The other 5 games in Sports Champions 2 are skiing, boxing, tennis, bowling, and golf. Archery in Sports Champions was so strong that it makes sense it would be brought back in the sequel. Hell, developers Indie Games created an entire game surrounding its top-notch archery mechanics in the form of 2011's Medieval Moves. Archery is littered with options and settings, and is what drew me in the most. Motioning to take an arrow out of your quiver and then letting it fly by simply aiming the move is simple fun. Bowling is also a lot of fun, and works extremely well. Swinging your arm back and then forward to let the ball fly down the lane is simple in premise, but hard to master. If you're looking for something to play with a friend that's quiet and casual, bowling may be for you. Likewise, golf offers another customizable, easy to understand but difficult to master experience that's great both by yourself and with friends. The other 3 games, boxing, skiing, and tennis, run the gamut from average to poor. Boxing is fun, but also flagrantly wild. While there are many mechanics to learn, such as blocking, throwing different kinds of punches, and more, it becomes more of a punch fest and less of a strategic game, even if you're playing against the computer. Tennis only works most of the time, which is a real shame because it could have been the game's strongest offering. There's a fundamental flaw with it, namely that swinging on the forehand or backhand forces the PlayStation Eye at times to lose sight of the move, which creates myriad frustrating misses on easy shots. Skiing, on the other hand, is just bizarre and even a little bit broken. Conducting jumps and balancing your character on tight turns is inconsistent at best. Skiing seems so out of place in Sports Champions 2. Why not bring back a second enjoyable game from the original, like bocce or disc golf, instead of forcing something into the game that seems so half-baked and unpolished compared to the majority of the rest of the package? Sports Champions 2 is about on par with the original, and maybe even a little better in some respects. I really enjoyed the premise behind its party play mode tailor-made for having friends over, and its cup play single-player mode for each sport continues to be its major draw when you're alone. However, while I understand that it's a game best played with others in your presence, it's disappointing that there's no online mode, especially considering Zindagi's last game had online play. There are PSN leaderboards though. Still, Sports Champions 2 joins an extremely small list of games that PlayStation Move owners should look into. Along with the original Sports Champions, Sorcery, and especially Medieval Moves, Sports Champions 2 is a fun game that could be stronger, but still rests among the cream of the crop in Sony's motion-based roster. For more on all things PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation Network, keep it tuned to IGN.